and nice to meet everyone. I'm Mokshith from Sieve, and we're building the cloud for video and audio AI. I mean, just a few years ago, if you think about it, right, the amount of video and audio we kind of interact with typically was not a ton. But I mean, today we're in Zoom meetings all the time. We're watching TikToks, we're watching podcasts. There's all sorts of ways we're consuming and creating video content, audio content in ways that maybe none of us even realize, right? And putting a number to that, over 80% of the internet IP traffic today is video and audio. And the hard part really about this kind of content is that number one, it's really big, right? So it's hard to process, but it's harder to understand or even create compared to image and text. And with Sieve, we're making that a lot easier for developers to do. And I mean, let's kind of look at a couple of use cases here, right? Like, let's say I'm a developer and I want to make it easy for my users to say, edit a podcast like it was a Word doc, or repurpose content automatically so I can distribute it on social media, or I'm a communication tool and I have a bunch of people recording videos on my product and I want to automatically dub it in different languages or auto-generate chapters, titles, summaries, so people don't have to watch the whole thing and can skip through. There's a ton of different use cases across a ton of different industries. Really, the problem is that a lot of these features are pretty hard to build. And it's that, there's this difference between open source model capabilities and real production use cases where it's typically combinations of models with extra logic and tinkering to actually make something really work, right? I mean, let's take an example of like summarization, where a combination of transcription, captioning, text generation, and a bunch of other models to actually make it work really, really well across a ton of different use cases, right? Or in dubbing, where it's that same transcription model, but now I'm combining that with translation, text-to-speech, lip syncing if I want to make it look like I'm speaking that, and multi-speaker detection if I want to do it on the right person. And there's a lot of these edge cases, right? That's the real hard part. And with Sieve, a lot of this stuff is just available out of the box. So a ton of out-of-the-box apps that you can kind of just use as an API to solve a lot of these use cases. But another interesting thing we kind of noticed with customers was that they actually wanted to try to build custom stuff too. And also we noticed that a lot of these building blocks that tend to be used across use cases would be repetitive. And so under the hood, really, we're a much more generic kind of compute platform. You can combine a lot of models together. You could even deploy your own stuff. And so as a developer, you have access to pretty generic GPU infrastructure, really great building blocks that work for your use case. As a product person, you have as a product person, you have access to this great interface that you can use to interact with apps. And this sort of modularity is what we've noticed a lot of people to really appreciate about the product, right? We're giving you a solution that really works today, but you're also kind of getting a nice path to building stuff completely yourself in the long run, whether you're a PM, a designer, or a developer, right? And that kind of modularity is kind of what's really resonated with a lot of the companies we work with. And we've gone from 200K to 2 million in revenue in the last 12 months with a really small team. We're 6 as of last week, actually. But yeah, and we're hiring across a ton of different roles. I mean, a lot of interesting engineering problems, of course, right? But low-level systems problems to make video audio processing fast, make GPU infrastructure efficient, but also a lot of interesting product design problems. How do you make it as easy for, say, a product person to interact with an app without code as you do for developers to interact with building these apps with code, right? And then also a ton of ML engineering problems where we're also building really great solutions available out of the box on top of Sieve. And so there's a ton of interesting problems there. And also, of course, on the BD side, there's, it's good to have a great product, but you need to have a good sales process going too. And especially when you're trying to sell larger deals to larger companies. And so ton of problems around good product messaging, good incentives, and ways to build a really robust sales process is another interesting area of growth. Based in downtown SF, like 3-minute walk from here, actually. And I mean, we're a team of 6. We're trying to grow to 10 by the end of January. So we're really interested in working on a small team, care about the problems we're working on. You want to work at a place where we're also all just kind of friends. Please come talk to me. I'll be standing at the bevy machine where you do the dispensing of good drinks.